Today, I'm going to show you how to produce a song just like Dan and Shay. But first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jesse Shirts. I'm a music producer from South Carolina, and songs that I've produced have landed on these Spotify editorial playlists and these Apple Music editorial playlists. And shameless plug, if you want me to produce your next single or project, hit the first link in the description. Alright, so to start out this track, I wanted to go ahead and build out a skeleton for the entire track. So the first thing I did is I actually mapped out the arrangement of the song. So I have a 4-bar intro, 12-bar verse, 8-bar chorus, 4-bar hook, etc, etc. So I went ahead and mapped that out in my head beforehand and laid down some markers. And the first thing I actually started with was this piano. A lot of the Dan and Shay tracks are centered around keys and piano, which I noticed in a lot of their productions. So I went ahead and started with piano. And the piano on this is super simple. It's just playing basic triad chords. So that's a progression on the chorus, and then I have a different progression on the verse, which sounds like this. So I just kept it super simple, basic triads. And the next thing I actually went ahead and did was I built out the drums for this song. And so I just kept a super simple hi-hat groove on the choruses. And then on the verses, I did more of a 4 on the floor pattern, which sound like this. So once I had the foundation with the piano and the drums, I wanted to add some sort of hooky picked element to the track. So I grabbed my resonator guitar and played this. So that's the riff on the chorus, and this is the riff on the verses. Alright, so for this riff, we are on capo 3, and the chords for the verse progression are A minor, C major, F major. And to play this riff, you start with the open A string, hammer on 0 to 2 on the D string, and then you move to the C chord, so you play 3 on the A string with the same hammer on, 0 to 2 on the D string. Then you move to the F chord, so you're playing the first fret on the low E string, and then you're playing 0, 2 on the G string. So all together, it's like this. Now the progression on the chorus changes, and that would be G major, C major, F major. So you start on the 3rd fret of the E string, hammer on 0, 2 on the A string, then you move to the C chord, you play the 3rd fret, 0, 2 on the D string, then you go to the F chord, so 1, 1 on the E string, and then 0, 2 on the G string, same as the first riff. So that all together goes like this. So they're super similar riffs, but they're just following the chord progression for the verse and for the chorus. And so as you can see, the resonator is panned to the right. And so what I wanted to do was go ahead and add an electric guitar, which I then panned to the left, basically playing the exact same riff, which sounds like this. So at that point, I had a super solid foundation for the track so far, but I wanted to add some more rhythm instruments. So I went ahead and added these acoustic guitars. And this is what it sounds like on the verses. And then on the choruses, I went ahead and strummed big open cowboy chords. And my idea for that was having the chugging rhythm on the verses just keeps the momentum of the verses going. And then when you strum out the cowboy chords, kind of just helps open up the track a bit. And so kind of similar with what I did with the resonator riff, I had the rhythm acoustic guitars panned to the left, and I went ahead and added an electric guitar, which is panned to the right, just chugging along with the chords. So at that point, I had almost all of the rhythm elements laid down for this track. The only thing I had to add for the rhythm section was the bass guitar, which sounds like this. All I'm doing is playing the root note of each chord and chugging along with the rhythm. There are a few sections though where I break that rhythm. In verse 2, I do more of a whole note sort of thing. And so at that point, I had the entire rhythm section laid down, which sounds like this. Which on its own already feels really great. But I knew I needed to add some ear candy and some other elements to spice up the track and give it some great character. So what I decided to do was add an electric guitar, a slide guitar, and a steel guitar. But I wanted everything to be kind of spread out to make the track feel super wide and interesting and have different things going on each side. So the electric guitar is panned to the left, and then the slide guitar and the steel guitar are panned to the right. And as you can see, just by the waveforms, without me even playing anything, they're kind of doing a call and response sort of thing. So we have the main electric guitar playing here, same with the steel. And the slide guitar kind of fills in this gap here. All those together sound like this. And those three elements right there gave the track the atmosphere and feel and vibe that I needed for this style of song. It gives it that kind of just country, almost beachy sort of feel. Super laid back, super cool. But having that on that super energetic driving rhythm, in my opinion, feels great. Everything together so far sounds like this. So at that point, the track was pretty much done, but I felt like it needed just a few more things to really make those choruses sound huge and have all the energy it needed. So the next thing I did was I added this resonator and this banjo. The resonator is panned left and the banjo is panned right, and both those together sound like this. And then together with some of the other instruments, this is what it sounds like. And in my opinion, that just adds a little bit more groove to the chorus and fills in some of the gaps rhythmically that are kind of missing from the drums. And they're not super prevalent in the mix, but they're panned super hard left and right, so you can kind of just barely hear them. But like I said, it just kind of adds in a little bit more rhythm and groove to the choruses and just helps the energy continue to move throughout the chorus. So then at that point, I felt like everything was sounding really good, but I needed the choruses to just hit a little bit harder and feel a little bit bigger. So I ended up adding these power chords on the electric guitar, which are just super heavy and adds a lot of depth to the track. So I'll go ahead and play the chorus without the power chords, and then I'll go ahead and play them with, so you can kind of hear what those add. Basically just filled in all the space that I felt was missing from the track. We also have these effects which swell into the chorus and just kind of helps the chorus have a little bit more impact when it comes in. And for this track, I wanted some sort of electric guitar hook to come in after the chorus. And so this is what it sounds like. So the hook riff is super simple. You start off with a double stop hammer-on. You're playing the 10th fret on the G string and the 11th fret on the B string. And you're hammering on from the 10 to 12 on the G string. And then you're doing just a little roll on the C minor pentatonic scale. So you're going 8, 10 on the D string, and then 8 on the G string. So together. The second part of the hook, you repeat that first hammer-on. But then you slide up and do another hammer-on. It's the same exact shape, but it's up on the 15th fret of the G string, the 16th fret of the B string. And you're hammering on the 15th to the 17th fret on the G string. So the second half sounds like this. So you put it all together and you get this. And at that point, the track was pretty much finished. And that's basically the whole track. But there are a few more sections that I kind of want to show you that I think are really special and add a lot of dynamics to the track overall. So the first section I want to show you is right after the hook going into verse 2. Basically, I drop everything out except the piano. And I think that adds a lot of dynamic range to the track because you go from this huge chorus with this huge electric guitar hook down to just a piano. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what that sounds like. And then having all the other instruments come in on the second bar of that verse just kind of catapults you back into the track and has a lot of energy. The next section I think is really cool is the bridge. And what I think makes the bridge really stand out is this electric guitar that I added only in the bridge section. And that electric guitar is only in the bridge, and musically it's a lot different than everything else that's going on. So I kind of think it really helps set the bridge apart from the rest of the track. And as you just heard as well, the drums also go to kind of a double halftime sort of thing with a tom groove. And halfway through that bridge, instead of having a snare, I add this super reverbed out rim, which I think just adds a lot of atmosphere and really opens that bridge up. And the last thing I want to show you is what I did on the intro. So basically I took all of the ear candy elements, the electric guitar, the steel guitar, the slide guitar, resampled all those into one track. And then what I did is I added this awesome preset in Filter Freak, which is just a filtering plugin that you can get a lot of cool effects on. And this is what that part sounds like. which I think is the perfect way to set off the intro for the song. And that is basically the entire track. I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to keep this series going here on my YouTube channel, so if it's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. And without further ado, here's the final track.